Okay guys, so for today, I did bring a 1.7 liter Honda engine home. Reason why is it didn't weigh as much, so I was able to carry it by myself, and the engine was replaced. The reason why the engine was replaced was for oil starvation, so the main bearings, rod bearings ended up failing, causing a rod knock and whatnot. But after 310,000 miles or 18 years, that's pretty good. Now, I did want to point some things out for you lube techs, apprentice people, or just people that do oil changes. I know you know this is a oil filter, you know what I'm saying? So there's no need to be tightening the shit out of it. So check this out. You see that? Nice and easy. It does have a seal, and that's what it's for, to prevent an oil leak. So there's no need for you to tighten the shit out of it, like I said. So you're just putting the word out there, because we technicians, we fucking hate that shit. So this engine, you will find it from 2001 to 2005. It is a interference engine, so your timing belt breaks, you will bend valves, break a piston, but for some reason, it doesn't apply to the engine passport. It's a little SUV. I don't know why though, but I will find out. So before we get started, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and type them in. And let's get to it, come on. All right guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start by removing the valve cover bolts. They are 10mm bolts. So here's your valve cover. It does use a rubber gasket, but I would put some silicone maybe here on the edges just to prevent an oil leak, and that would be on both sides. Okay. A single overhead cam. One cam controls both your intake and your exhaust, just depending on where the load turns. As you can see, we do have 2 intake valves per cylinder, right? So we got cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 exhaust valves per cylinder as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. A total of 16 valves. Little things I want to point out there. It is an inline 4, obviously, and the firing order goes as 1, 3, 4, 2. Now, when you do a compression test on this, you don't want to see anything less than maybe 130 psi, and between cylinders, more than 25 psi between each other. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and start removing the cylinder head by removing these cylinder head bolts. Okay guys, it's time to remove the bearing caps off the camshaft along with the rocker arms. It is one assembly, but first let's take these bolts out of the way because they're stuck on the cylinder head gasket. These are 10mm bolts all the way around. Okay guys, once the bolts are off, go ahead and remove the assembly by prying upward. Not too hard though, because the bearings could get damaged. And like I said, it is one assembly, as you can see there. Now here are your springs with your retainers or keepers, your camshaft. There's your cam gear. And there's your lobes on your camshaft, like I said earlier. Here's a little quick view of the valves, springs, retainers, the oil seals. Okay guys, so this is a manifold gasket. All it does is it completes a sealing surface between the block and the manifold. And here's your head gasket. It prevents coolant, engine oil, and loss of combustion gases in the cylinder. Now, you do need a 5/8 socket to remove the spark plugs. Let's go see what we have in there. Alright guys, this one here looks like it was running lean. A little rusted here and there on the tip. And it looks like they were running on NGKs. I'm not sure if you could tell. Cylinder 2 was stuck on there, but let's try number 3. Never mind, same thing. Fuck it, let's try number 4. Okay, number 4 came out. Let me go ahead and grab it with the magnet. Oh, look at that. That one was burning oil, maybe running rich. Okay guys, now that we did the spark plugs, let's go ahead and take out that water outlet. Check what we have inside. Hopefully it's not too gunky. It does have a 12 and 13 millimeter nuts and bolts that bolt onto the cylinder head. There's your engine temperature sensor there. Some coolant jackets on there too. There's a tube here. Every time you remove it, there's an O-ring seal on the inside. Just go ahead and replace it. Now, here's your cam sensor. Every time the camshaft rotates, that's how it tells the ECM how many turns or how many revolutions it does per cycle. All right, let's check the bottom of the cylinder head, guys. As you can see, it's made of aluminum for lightweight. And here are some of the coolant passages, along with some oil passages. And like I mentioned before, it does have 4 valves per cylinder, as you can see. Now, this is a dowel pin. It helps sit the cylinder head onto the engine block. All right, let's go ahead and take off the oil filter. They were using Fram brand from Walmart or Target or something. Oh, there you go, pretty clean. Now let's go ahead and remove your oil and air separator with 10 millimeter socket. It has the same function or its basic function as a PCV system. Matter of fact, it's part of the PCV system. Now let's go ahead and remove your knock sensor. That should be a 13 millimeter bolt. There you go, see? Now this is your oil pressure switch. Couldn't really take it out, so fuck it, I just leave it in there. Oil pan replacement time, guys, or removal. It does take 10 millimeter nuts and bolts all the way around. Now you do have them here, here, and back here, of course. So your oil pump sucks oil through the pickup tube through here and from the oil pan. Let's go ahead and remove that pickup tube. This is your crankshaft griddle, but before we remove that, we have to remove the oil pump. Okay guys, so as you can see, we have a couple pulleys here and there. This is your water pump. Here's your tensioner, and here's your crankshaft gear or key. Now, this crankshaft, it does have a couple splines here, as you can see. Here's your alignment pin to the snout of the crankshaft. And here's your TDC alignment to your engine block. Good? All right. Now let's go ahead and start removing that oil pump like I said earlier. It does take a couple 10mm bolts. Once all these bolts are off, just give it a little pry on the edges since that seal is pretty on there. Alright guys, there is a washer behind the crankshaft key, so don't forget about that. Here's your sensor, your cam gear. That's how it reads data, similar to your camshaft. And this is a positive displacement pump. Now for the water pump, 10mm bolts all the way around. Let's see how it looks in there. Not too bad, not too bad. Now when you do a water pump, the belt has to come off, so depending on the miles, I would replace it. Next, here's your tensioner. You apply and release tension just with the movement of a Allen socket. Now that the oil pump's off, let's go ahead and remove that crankshaft griddle. Now you might need to pry a little bit since they're on there really good because of those main bearings. Once it's off, you could take a look at each bearing. As you can see, we have 2 left. They're pretty on there. The rest must be on the crankshaft. Look at that, oil starvation, like I said. Now these plugs here are just to prevent loss of oil pressure. Here's the other main bearings. They're under the crankshaft. Let's go ahead and rotate it. Here's cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's go ahead and take off the pistons. You do need a 12mm socket to remove the rod bearing caps. Sorry about that. Okay, now that the retaining nuts are off, let's go ahead and take these bearing caps off. And these motherfuckers are on there. As you can see, there is very little bearing material left on there. Now to take out the piston, just go ahead and give it little taps. Alright guys, now the piston came out. Look at this baby stuff. These are about 74mm around. As you can see, they do have play thanks to that piston pin. Now, these are your piston rings. The first 2 are always compression rings. They prevent loss of compression. Of course, common sense. This motherfucker broke, oh well. And these down here are your oil control rings, so they prevent oil going into the combustion chamber. So as the piston goes up, those rings bring the oil back down after the cylinder wall has been lubricated. Now usually there's a coating here, but look how worn these are. After 310,000 miles, that's normal. Now all these rings are not the same. Please do not confuse them, and please do not mix them up. There are bigger ones, smaller ones, grooved ones, and there's many sizes out there. Now look at these bearing caps. Look at number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry about that, number 4. Look how burnt that is. That motherfucker been running hot. Okay guys, I do have a piston picture here, or a diagram. As you can see, it is in color and it shows you what creates the piston, or the parts for a piston. Now on the crankshaft, I did forget to show you the thrust bearing. Usually this bearing is in the middle of the crankshaft, and it does help prevent excessive movement. Here it is right here. Those grooves are oil passages. Now, if these were to fail, the main bearings will take a shit along with the block. I did want to remove the crankshaft, but because of these rusted ass bolts, I couldn't. But I will next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.